Today we're driving the 2024 Toyota Prius Prime. This is the plug-in hybrid Toyota Prius. I spent all week with this. Let's talk about what it's been like to live with. We'll take it for a drive, give you guys some driving impressions. First, let's start outside. So this is the XSE Premium top trim. It costs around $40,000 to start. This has a couple options like the technology package, a solar roof, which will help charge the Prius while it's in the sun, 19-inch wheels, so that brings the total price to about $42,500. This is painted in Guardian Gray. It's a very good looking Prius. Quite a departure from previous designs, though it's still recognizable as a Prius. Very slippery, very efficient, weighs about 3,500 pounds as a plug-in hybrid. It'll do 40 miles on a charge, and then has a 2-liter gasoline engine that will kick in and either give you more power or more range after the battery runs out. You've got a charge port here on the passenger side. Plug it in during the day, overnight. Fuel filler on the left. It says 220 combined net horsepower from the electric motors and the gasoline engine. It's kind of quick. Power tailgate. It's a hatchback, or I guess kind of a liftback design. Kind of a flimsy cover here, kind of thin, but you've got this white styrofoam underneath with a fix-a-flat kit. There's a reason why this is white. I learned it at the launch and then I promptly forgot about it. So if you guys remember, be sure to chime in the comments. Little cargo cover here. You can fold those seats down. And there's actually a decent amount of room in the back. I think if you're a taller passenger, you might struggle some with headroom, but otherwise, it's pretty comfy back here. If you've got kids, if you're not hauling around 6 foot plus adults, you'll be okay. I'm 5'10". This is my driving position, and I've got about an inch of room above my head. This has optional heated rear seats, which is very nice. We've got plug outlets all throughout this. 120 volt, 1500 watts of power. You can see the new interior here. Toyota's adding a little bit of color, a little bit of red to this Prius Prime. Not mad about it. I love the way this looks. My only complaint is that these 19-inch wheels are completely unnecessary. Kind of a strange tire size too. These are 195/50 R19s, which is not a common tire size. They're very skinny and have very thin sidewalls, and I think these are just going to get demolished by potholes and rough roads. They also don't help your range at all too. One of the most shocking things about this new Prius design is just how flat the front windshield is. And look at the acrobatics that this windshield wiper has to do to clean that space. It's pretty cool. Cool looking car. I think you see a few of these on the road and it's kind of a desirable thing now. It's pretty neat. All right, let's walk you through the interior. We've shown you the Prius on multiple occasions, even though this is the first time that I've spent some time behind the wheel with the Prius Prime. We've got this kind of funky looking gauge cluster that is right above the steering wheel. It works. The driving position in this works after I've lived with this some. However, it does take some getting used to the smaller display, the smaller icons. It can be a little bit tricky to read sometimes. And getting your driving position right, you can very easily block everything with the steering wheel. But I'm pretty comfortable with this setup right here. Lots of adjustability with the seat. Lots of physical controls and buttons. We've got a heated steering wheel button to the left, heated and ventilated seats over here to the right, along with climate control. Single zone, not dual zone. Drive modes are right down here: Sport, Normal, Custom, and Eco. And then you can change between Auto, EV, or Hybrid Vehicle, or you can hold this button down here to charge the battery with the 2-liter gasoline engine. I like that your parking brake is right here, your shifter's right here in the center console. Everything is easily accessible and nicely placed ergonomically in this car. Good looking reverse cameras. You can see there once you back up a little bit, it'll paint what's underneath the car, which is very clever. You've also got a, let's see here, we'll cancel that. You've got a quick access parking view button right there, as well as the parking assist which I have never used, but I'm sure it works and it's pretty cool. Infotainment takes a little bit of time to start up, but CarPlay connects immediately. We do have a wireless connection for that. Same Toyota infotainment that we've seen in just about every Toyota Lexus model. Volume knob is to the right here. Lots of settings in here. And oh, one thing that I would like to show you guys, we didn't get to experience it because we started the video from inside the car, but the unlock chime in this Prius is really, it's kind of unique. Substitute Topher claims that this sounds just like the first two notes of Jingle Bells, which you might be onto something. You can go into the settings and raise the volume of that too, so it's a little bit louder. I've chosen to turn it down just a bit. One of the many endearingly odd things about the new Toyota Prius. We have lots of hashtags in here. This is hashtag hidden compartment, and there's a few other kind of hidden around the vehicle. Got nice visors here. Here's your mirror. There you go. We get a digital rear view mirror, which looks pretty nice. And just excellent build quality throughout this Toyota Prius Prime. This feels like one of the nicest built Toyotas in the lineup. Maybe even feels a little bit higher quality than the Toyota Crown. It's just, everything feels so solid. Okay, maybe it doesn't have the most impressive materials. There's still quite a lot of plastic in this interior, but just driving this thing around, the way it rides, the way the NVH just kind of, it just feels like a really well-built, solid vehicle that will go for hundreds of thousands of miles. We've got some buttons here to the left. Heat your windshield wipers there, auto high beams, pop the fuel filler door, pop the tailgate, turn on your AC 120 volt, and then pop the hood right there. Lots of places to store things. Everything's lined with this rubber material so it doesn't make noise. A little bit of gloss black plastic here that is already quite scratched up, so you have to be careful with that. Let's go for a drive and see what this is like on the road. If you have a decent charge, this will default to starting up in EV mode, which is nice because you can just drive this as an electric vehicle. The only problem is it does limit your outright power, and you may find yourself wanting to switch to the auto EV hybrid vehicle mode if you want the full power out of this. But let's start off in EV mode, and we'll show you guys what it's like, how it accelerates, and then we'll kind of switch between the other drive modes and see how this car performs. First thing we're going to do though is show you the turning radius, because it is ridiculously tight. Look at that. That's impressive. Nice, small steering wheel. The heated steering wheel on this, on a cold morning like we have today, is just about perfect. It's evenly heated all around the rim. It's not burning my hands off. It feels just about right. All right, so again, we are in full EV mode. We have 55% charge on the battery. In EV mode, you are locked into EV mode. You can't turn the gasoline engine on until you run out of battery in this mode. So you have to be kind of careful with your merges and your passes because you don't have a ton of power. I would argue that you have enough power for getting around town, but once you get up into higher speeds, you might want the extra power from hybrid. Brake pedal feels nice. Turn in is sharp. Handling is good. Lots of warnings, beeps telling me that vehicles are crossing in front of me. All right, this is full throttle. And we're getting up to speed reasonably quickly. There is also a regenerative braking mode. You just pull back on the shifter here, though it does lock you out of using cruise control in that mode. Very usable car in EV mode, and if you want your Prius to basically be an electric car for 40 miles, or maybe less if you're on the highway, then this is a very good job. Let's switch into hybrid or auto EV/HV. This will kick the engine on after you give it a little bit more throttle. It's a seamless transition. and we have a really nice amount of power in this Prius. Super windy day today, so we're getting a little bit more wind noise than we would normally. Here's some different views with this gauge cluster. One thing that's interesting is you can't see your fuel economy until you switch into manual hybrid vehicle mode, not auto EV. You can see I've been averaging about 95 miles to the gallon. I'm just going to leave it here on this energy monitor so we can see what's going on with the battery and the engine. Handling here is just awesome. It's on 195 with tires too. That is impressive. It will go up into sport mode too. Ride quality is very nice, very comfortable. Toyota has done such a great job tuning this chassis, the suspension, all of your inputs, braking, steering. It all just feels about right. A little bit of understeer there as we go over some salt. Driving position is mostly good. These seats are very comfortable, very soft. I will say, resting my arms right here, the armrest to the right is a little bit higher than the armrest to the left, so you feel a little bit offset, which takes some getting used to. We're getting a little bit more power now that the engine has had some time to warm up. This car is actually a real pleasure to drive. It's kind of fun getting the most fuel economy, the most regenerative braking out of this, driving it hyper efficiently. But also, now the Prius is a little bit sportier to drive, which is great. I find it really refreshing to finally be able to kind of hustle one of these cars because it has a great chassis. It feels light, it feels nimble. We'll hang back here just a second and hit this entrance ramp with some speed. Okay, off we go. I mean, the traction control light is flashing there. There's the lift off oversteer here. Look at that. That's awesome. So you may be wondering, how does Toyota save their engine from going from cold to full throttle on, let's say, at highway entrance merge? Well, it's not giving you full power on that full throttle until the engine is warmed up. Now that we have some temperature in the system, this is quick. Look at that. That's great acceleration there. And that's coming from both the battery and the gasoline motor. This thing handles like a hybrid hot hatch. It's just great. Alright, let's do a quick 0 to 60 here. We're in sport mode. Is there a traction control button? There is. Not bad, not bad at all. And that's at 40% charge with the battery too. So when you're in auto EV HV mode, and you are an EV, you can see that indicated right there on the dash, You can accelerate up until this first power meter notch right there. So let's show you what kind of power you can get with the battery. It's actually pretty decent. If you go past that, the engine's going to kick on automatically, and you'll get full 220 combined net horsepower. We can switch back into EV mode. That's full EV power right there. Let's do an EV 0 to 60. Pretty quick off the line. Not too bad. It's usable. Toyota really does do the best calibration with their hybrid vehicles. This is so well tuned, so well engineered. It's just a very natural, fluid, smooth, and relaxing driving experience. Yeah, this new Prius is very, very impressive. Complaints. Not a huge fan of these steering wheel buttons. I think they're just not as intuitive as they could or should be. The screen takes some getting used to. Brightness control. You've got this nice physical button right here for driving at night and changing the gauge cluster brightness, but it only controls the cluster brightness, not your screen brightness. That should control everything. That's a Toyota Lexus thing. Same among all the models in the lineup. Otherwise, there isn't really a whole lot to complain about in this car. It's very, very good. It handles well, it's fun to drive, it's reasonably quick. Look at that. Okay, in EV mode, it's slow, but press a button, and it isn't. This is how you engage cruise control. Press this button right here. You can set your speed. The steering assist, the lane tracing assist, works quite well too. It lasts forever, probably because there's eye tracking infrared sensors right here. The car stays pretty well centered between the lines. Adaptive cruise control is very smooth in its operation. I mean, everything here is done properly and has been, it feels finished. It feels like a very finished, cohesive product. A few little complaints. I'm not crazy about this red in the interior. I feel like it just doesn't quite match. It's not quite the right color, but personal preference. The unlock chime's a bit strange, but some of the weirdness here I think is endearing. Really, one of the biggest cons is that these are just going to be really hard to get a hold of, and dealers are probably going to be charging some markup on them. I don't know why Toyota hasn't been able to really up their plug-in hybrid production. They've really been focusing a lot on hybrid vehicles, but these plug-in hybrids are just so good. This only has a 10.9 kilowatt hour battery. And you have to think, with 40 miles of electric driving range, you're mostly going to be driving this as an EV. conceptually, this is kind of the ideal package for a modern hybrid vehicle. You've got a solar roof that charges it while it's parked, albeit it's not going to give you a ton of range every day, but maybe a few miles here or there, more if you're in the California sun. It's very efficient. It's got enough room inside. It's quick enough, it's fun. This feels a little bit like an enthusiast product. It's really grown on me this week. I am a big fan of this Prius Prime. I think ultimately, if you want that to maximize that efficiency and the price doesn't scare you as much, not cheap, over $40,000 for this plug-in hybrid. Are you really going to see the savings between this and the regular hybrid over time? It's going to take a lot of miles, a lot of driving to see those savings, but living with this as a plug-in hybrid, it's been pretty great so far. So anyway, guys, there's the Prius Prime. Nice to finally visit this and have spent some time behind the wheel. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments. We'll also be posting videos on this on the Winding Road channel. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. We'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. I love it. On that trip, 20-minute drive we just did, absolutely flogging it, we got 50 miles to the gallon. I love it.